Hey guys, so for today's video, I'm just going to be going through all of my favorite face brushes. I've gotten a lot of requests on like my highlight contour video, my foundation routine, just to talk about what my favorite brushes are, and especially about my crown brushes. I use a ton of crown brushes. They are super inexpensive. They're like really good quality. They last a long time. I've never actually like experienced one die on me or like stop working. So some of the brushes that I have are not marked, but what I'm going to do is after this video, I'm going to go through and in the description box down below, I'm going to put like duo fiber brush, and then I will put an exact link to that specific brush. If they don't have that specific brush anymore, I'm going to do one that's most similar to it. So that way you guys can like actually see it and get a quick link to it instead of having to navigate through their website, because it is a little bit more difficult and like old school looking. It's not like super advanced or like sexy. Okay, so now let's go ahead and talk about all the brushes for the face. These are my favorite face brushes. Okay, so I'm gonna go like in layers, and I'll start with concealer. This brush right here is my favorite concealer brush. I don't know why this specific one is, because I do have other ones, but this is a double-ended one, and I only use this side. I never use this side. This is a crown brush, and like I said, I'll put the description down below so that way you can go to the link. Super inexpensive. It's just like a synthetic flat concealer brush. So I do put all of my brushes, like, I'm trying to find cute stuff to actually store my brushes in, but right now I'm using a cup, like, kind of ratch, I know, but that's all I have. This concealer brush, I do like this one, but for some reason I always reach for the other one. I have no idea why. This one is also a crown brush. I think this is just like a few dollars, but it's pretty much the same thing. I think the other one that I use, the double-ended one, is maybe like a little bit more dense and a little bit tighter than this one. I think this one's like a little bit more like fluffy, but this is still a really good brush. I use this like when I do contouring, like the really dark color. But yeah, this one, I do store it like just this way in the cup. I don't know. So this is the MAC 130 brush, and this is, I know I talk about it all the time, it's like one of my favorite brushes to use to blend out around the eyes, and I also use it to blend out all of my concealer all over my face. I don't know why I love this brush so much. I think it's just like the length of the fibers, and it's a little bit more dense than most duo fiber brushes, but it's super nice and it blends out really well. And I did 1 year at IMATS buy this brush. This is a crown brush. And like I said, I'll put the link for it down below, but this one just doesn't work as well as the MAC one, and I know this MAC one's super dirty. But yeah, you can tell like the duo fibers, like the little white fibers on top, are just a little bit longer, and I think it's like a little bit too dense. I'm not sure what it is. This brush was only $6, and this brush was like $42, I think, so I know it's super pricey. But I really like this one, but they do have a crown one that looks really similar. It's just not quite the same. But what I did realize that's a good dupe for like the MAC 130 brush, even though it doesn't look like it, is this Real Techniques setting brush. So it's just like fluffy and synthetic, and it's really nice. It feels really nice, and I would totally use this like around my eyes and blending out all my concealer. I did do it one day. I kind of had to like change the amount of pressure that I put on my face. I had to do a little bit more pressure to actually blend everything out. But I really liked this one, and these brushes, the Real Techniques one, are anywhere. I always say techniques wrong. I say technique. I don't know, something's wrong with me. The Real Techniques brushes. Okay, and now my favorite foundation brushes. And the one that I was using for a while was this one. It's the Flat Top Synthetic Kabuki. I think it's F80 brush, so it's just like a flat top synthetic kabuki. And this gives you like a more dense, full coverage application for your foundation, like blah 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 blah. But yeah, it's super soft. I really like it. This one, like, you should really watch my how to clean brushes video, because if you use this for foundation, you're gonna get like tons of gunk stuck in here, and it's gonna get really gross. And I definitely recommend cleaning it with alcohol, even though people don't like doing that. I always do it with my brushes, but this one, because it's so dense and you're going to use it for like liquid foundation, definitely recommend using alcohol to clean it out. Try it, you'll see like how much stuff you can get out. But yeah, this brush, I don't know how much it is, but I think it's on the pricier side. And there is totally a crown brush dupe for this one. I don't have it anymore. I gave it to one of my girlfriends. because I have like a drawer full of brushes and sometimes I'm really like giving and other times I'm not. But yeah, I actually gave it to her, but I think it was $6 for the Crown dupe brush. Like I said, I'll put the link for it down below, but this one's really good to buff out liquid foundation. My next favorite liquid foundation brush to apply it is this one, and this is the Expert Face Brush from Real Techniques. And yeah, this brush is like $7.99 or $8.99, and it gives you like a full coverage application for your foundation. This is the one I've been using lately. I do like it. I think it's really, really nice. The only problem that I have, not really with this brush, just in general, is that my face is so much whiter than the rest of my body that I have to use like a much darker foundation than my actual skin. So I kind of get like a little bit splotchy with this particular brush. So what I've been doing is I go back in with this brush, and this is the stippling brush. So it's like a little duo fiber situation, but it's like kind of like a giant MAC 130 brush. And then I just come back in and like buff out so that way I can get like a perfect finish and there's no splotchiness and you can't see all my like neon white face skin showing through my foundation. So I've kind of been using both of these right now and I really, really like it. I did try to apply my foundation with just this brush and it didn't pick up enough product on its own. So I like to do it on top after I do the application with this one, if that makes sense. But that's just because I like really, really full coverage. If you don't want super full coverage, you could totally use this just by itself with like a face and body foundation. I think that would look really, really nice actually, but you know, I like full coverage, so I use them both. When I use my Ben Nye powders and I set underneath my eyes, like my concealer, I use this brush, which came in a kit. It's like a Bare Minerals tapered blush. I don't know how you could use a blush brush that small. I use a huge one. But I just use like a fluffy synthetic brush. And I know this brush is supposed to be for setting your eye area. I used it and it's just too small. I like something a little bit fuller, so that way I don't put too much product in one area. So I like to use this one, and I know there is a Real Techniques brush in a kit that I really want. It's kind of like a dome-shaped duo fiber. It's like the setting brush, but fuller and bigger. I really want it, but I don't want to buy the whole kit, so I'm hoping it comes out on its own. I don't remember what the name is. If I do, I'll like put it in a subtitle right here. But yeah, I really want that one. So if you're looking for like an under eye brush, I would look for like a smaller duo fiber, synthetic, fluffy, something that's not going to pack too much powder on. And then to actually set my foundation, depending on what setting powder I use, I'll do a couple different ones. So if I'm using a loose powder, I definitely like to use this one, and this is my favorite duo fiber brush that I have, and this is a Crown brush, so there's no name on it. This, I want to say, was anywhere between like $5 and $7, but it's like really, really fluffy, which is one of the reasons why I love it. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say about it, but it's really good for like a light application all over your face. So this is my favorite one. I do have a Sigma Duo Fiber F50 brush, which I do like, but it's a little bit too dense for me, so you can just see the difference between them. Well, I don't know, maybe you can't see it, but I can feel a difference when I put it on my face. This gives like a heavier application, so just for doing like my setting, I don't really like to use this one that much, but I do like this brush, but I just don't have like a use for it right now. So this is like for sure my favorite duo fiber brush, and you'll probably see I am obsessed with duo fiber brushes. If I could have like every single brush be duo fiber, I would. Okay, so that was what I like to use for my setting if I'm doing loose powder. But if I'm doing a pressed powder, kind of like I just got this MAC Select Sheer pressed powder, and when you put a brush to it, like there's a lot of fallout, so I wasn't having a lot of success using a duo fiber brush with it, so I started using a fluffier one, and I really do love this brush. This is a Sigma Large Powder F30 brush, and I have a few of these. I don't know why, but I love this brush. It's like kind of dense, but it's still like not at the same time, you know, because that makes sense, but I don't know. I just really like this one, and I know Sigma brushes, well, they're probably not expensive in general, but compared to Crown brushes, they are a little bit pricey. But I definitely like this brush for using a pressed powder to set my liquid foundation. Okay, and then contouring brushes. I know a lot of people want to know like what kind of angled brush I like to use. I know the like NARS whatever brush is like super hot right now for contouring, but I don't like, that's like a little bit too like liney for me, like straight line. So I like to use just like fluffy angled brushes, and the two that I use, this one's from Sigma. It's the large angled contour, and this is a F40 brush. This one I use more for like bronzer all around wherever I want to bronze. And this, I know I shouldn't be talking about brushes that I don't even know if they're available anymore, but this is a Borghese. I don't know what it is, but it's like a fluffy, it's like really kind of dense. It's a little bit more dense than the Sigma one, so I think that's why I like to use this one, and this is what I use to contour. It is Angled Contour Brush number 101. I'm gonna go online after I finish this video and see if they sell this, but my sister-in-law actually bought, oops. Anyway, okay, so my sister bought this Borghese kit at Costco like 2 years ago, and she was like, I don't use these brushes, do you want them? And I was like, yeah, because I never turn down brushes. And there's a few that like I would die without, not really die, but I really like them a lot. And one of them is this 101 Angled Contour Brush. It's just like really full angled brush. It's much fuller than the Sigma one. So this is the one that I use to like contour, whatever. Ooh, you guys have been like cray asking about my blush brush. I think I'm a little bit weird when it comes to blush brushes because I use like really large ones. So I do have this one. This is the Bare Minerals tapered blush brush, but I don't use that for blush. I use it for highlight around the eye area. But my blush brush that I use is from Crown, duh. And this is IB126 Chisel Blush Brush. And this is the Italian Badger Hair series. I don't know if it really comes from an Italian badger or not. I have a couple brushes from this like specific collection with, I think this is like a natural fiber and a red handle. But this is like been my favorite. I got it at IMATS like maybe 2 or 3 years ago. But it just like applies blush really well. And I like fuller brushes for my blush. I know some people don't. Some people like more round ones or tapered ones or angled ones. But this is what I like to use for my blush, and this is my favorite. I would definitely repurchase this one. I know I already talked about this one a little bit, but this is Bare Essentials, the tapered blush brush. I would never use this for blush. It's too small for me, but I use this for my highlighting powders, these 3 up here. I do use this. I think the natural fibers pick up a little bit more product than synthetic ones. This is what I use for like right here, here, and such as. Here's one more. This is also from that Borghese, and I'm gonna feel so stupid if I say it wrong, but I'm really bad at pronouncing words. This is what I use for my highlighter, this one right here. Because I use the Mary Luminizer from the Balm, it's like a really dense, super pigmented highlighter. I use this brush instead of like the brush that I use for other highlighters, like Soft and Gentle. I use this one, but this brush would be too dense for the Mary Luminizer because it's like almost like an eyeshadow. It's so pigmented. So I use this duo fiber brush. I love this one. This is the number 102 duo fiber blending brush. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching.